Hey, sports fans, and welcome to Milan Soccer Club, the only podcast that bleeds red and black. I'm your host, Alice, and I'm ready to rumble after a tough but ultimately victorious weekend for AC Milan. You know, the kind of win that leaves you both relieved and scratching your head?
That's right, Alice. I'm Paul, and I'm here to try and make sense of it all. We're talking about that narrow 1-0 win over Verona. But more than just the scoreline, we're going to dissect the performance, the impact of some key substitutions, and the looming Champions League clash against Feyenoord. So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a spicy one.
All right, Paul, give us the quick rundown. What are we really diving into today?
Okay, so first things first. Milan snatched a 1-0 victory against Verona, which is huge for their Champions League aspirations. We will talk about the points recovered on Lazio and the potential impact on the standings. Then, we are going to look at how Leao and Jimenez came off the bench and completely changed the game. I mean, their link-up for the goal? Sublime. Was it a good Milan performance, or just a lucky result? We'll also compare the form of key players like Theo Hernandez and Leao under Conceicao compared to the past. Plus, Jimenez scored in his first San Siro appearance and his second consecutive goal in Serie A. Also, Conceicao's absence from post-match interviews due to the death of former Porto president, with Ibrahimovic stepping up, and how Pulisic is adapting to Milan. We'll wrap it up by looking at Milan's stats under Conceicao and the tactical adjustments needed to unleash Jimenez, and then look ahead to the crucial Feyenoord match.
Okay, Paul, that's a lot to unpack, but let's start with the most important thing. Milan actually winning. I mean, 1-0 against Verona. How big is this win for the Champions League race? Really, it's not just about the 3 points, right?
Alice, you hit the nail on the head. This win is absolutely vital. Because, as you said, it's not just about the 3 points, it's about the psychological impact. Lazio drew against Napoli, meaning Milan closed the gap. Now, depending on what Juventus does against Inter tonight, they could potentially gain even more ground. Okay?
Okay, makes sense. So, a win and other teams dropping points. That's what we like to see. But what if Juve wins? Does it diminish Milan's victory?
Well, it softens the blow a bit, sure. But it doesn't negate the importance of Milan's win. Remember, every point matters in this race for the top 4. Even if Juve wins, Milan still closed the gap on Lazio. Plus, they need to focus on themselves, on stringing together consistent results, regardless of what other teams are doing. The race for Champions League, it's a long-term game, you know. And this win was a crucial step to remain on the top teams group.
True. Gotta control what you can control, right? What do you expect of this Champions race now?
Expect absolute chaos. I mean, you've got Inter seemingly running away with the title, but behind them, it's a dogfight. Lazio, Milan, Juventus, Roma, they're all battling for those Champions League spots. It's going to come down to consistency, to who can handle the pressure, and honestly, a bit of luck. I really think that AS Roma and Milan will go to Champions League next year.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of pressure, let's talk about Leao and Jimenez. I mean, those two came on and completely changed the game, didn't they? Was that tactical genius from Conceicao or just a lucky roll of the dice?
Oh, it's definitely a bit of both, Al. And Leao was expected, and Jimenez was a bold move, but it paid off big time. And look, you can make the best substitutions in the world, but the players still need to execute. The synergy between Leao and Jimenez, the way they combined for that goal, that's not just luck. That's about talent and understanding. I think that Leao, as a senior, has the responsibility of creating an environment so the younger players can improve faster and feel more comfortable. But Leao and Jimenez showed that Milan has depth, and the players that comes from the bench can be as important as the starters.
Yeah, that goal was a thing of beauty. Jimenez's flick, Leao's whatever that acrobatic pass was, and then Jimenez with the finish! But let's dig deeper into Jimenez. He's a relatively new face, right? What's his story, and what does he bring to the team that others don't?
Okay, so Jimenez is a young player, but he's got that raw talent, that unpredictable quality that can unlock defenses. He's direct, he's quick, and he's not afraid to take risks. Think about his assist for Leao. It showed incredible vision and technique. And that's what Milan needs. More players who can create something out of nothing. He is in the first steps of his career, but showed that he has all the ingredients to become a star.
Sure, but is it sustainable? Can he keep delivering those game-changing moments off the bench, or is it just a flash in the pan?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, it's still early days, but he definitely has the potential. The key will be consistency, working hard in training, and continuing to develop his understanding with the other players. If he can do that, then yeah, he could become a really important player for Milan, not just as a substitute, but as a regular starter. In the end, is up to him to show the coach and the fans what he is made of. But the way he is going, sky is the limit.
Okay, Paul, I'm cautiously optimistic about Jimenez, but let's switch gears. Because despite the win, there's a lot of debate online about the actual quality of Milan's performance. People are saying it was ugly, that they were lucky, that they only managed 3 shots on target. Is this a fair criticism, or are people just being harsh?
Alice, the fans have a point. I mean, you can't ignore the fact that the first half was dire. There was a serious lack of creativity, the passing was slow, and they struggled to break down Verona's defense. The whistles at halftime were definitely deserved. But look, winning ugly is still winning. And sometimes, especially in a tough season like this, you just need to find a way to grind out the result, even if it's not pretty. So, yeah, the criticism is fair, but it's also important to acknowledge that they got the job done. What did you expect from this Milan team, though?
Okay, I get that. But winning ugly isn't exactly a recipe for long-term success, is it? I mean, if they play like that against Feyenoord, they're going to be in trouble.
Absolutely. And that's the key takeaway here. This performance wasn't good enough. They need to be much better, much sharper, much more creative against Feyenoord. They can't afford another slow start, another lack of ideas in attack. They need to come out firing on all cylinders because their Champions League future depends on it. Do you think that Conceicao knows how to address these issues?
I hope so. But speaking of individual performances, there's been a lot of talk about Theo Hernandez and Leao. Some say they're not playing at their best under Conceicao. What's your take?
It's a mixed bag, really. I mean, on one hand, Leao provided the assist for the winning goal against Verona, and he's still topping the assist charts in Serie A. According to Gazzetta dello Sport, Leao has given 36 assists in the last 5 years. No one has more in Serie A. But on the other hand, he's also been benched in recent games, and there's a sense that he's not always playing with the same intensity and consistency that we've seen in the past. There's some rumors that Ibra is talking with Theo to extend his contract because both sides are happy. But there are signs that Conceicao wants to get the best of both of them. What is your opinion on this?
Okay, so you're saying that they are having highs and lows and nothing to worry about. But what about Theo? I mean, he looks like a shadow of his former self, and I am very worried.
With Theo, the situation is even more concerning. He's clearly going through a difficult period, both on and off the field. He's not attacking with the same vigor, he's not defending with the same intensity, and he just doesn't seem to be enjoying his football at the moment. In an article on Gazzetta, the author mentions seeing Conceicao hugging Theo after the game, trying to reassure him. It's clear that Conceicao recognizes the importance of getting Theo back to his best, because when he's on form, he's one of the best left-backs in the world. So it's a mental game for him right now. He needs to find his confidence again. What can Milan do, though?
Yeah, I agree. Theo needs a confidence boost, and fast. Maybe a heart-to-heart with Conceicao or Ibrahimovic could do the trick. Speaking of Ibrahimovic, he stepped in for Conceicao in the post-match interviews due to the death of the former Porto president. What does that tell us about his role at Milan?
Well, it shows that he's much more than just a senior advisor. He's a leader, he's a spokesperson, and he's someone who the club trusts to represent them in important moments. And the fact that he spoke so highly of Conceicao, praising his work and his impact on the team, shows that there's a real belief in what the manager is trying to build. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Ibra's presence is huge, both on and off the field. And it's interesting that he specifically mentioned Pulisic in his interview with Sports Illustrated, saying that Ibrahimovic cares a lot about the players and always asks how their head is. How do you think Pulisic is helping the team?
Pulisic has been a revelation. He's brought creativity, work rate, and a goal-scoring threat to the team. He seems to be thriving under Conceicao's management, and he's quickly become a fan favorite. He's a perfect example of a player who needed a change of scenery to rediscover his best form. What's your opinion of him?
I agree completely. He's been one of Milan's most consistent performers this season. But let's get back to Gimenez. He scored his first goal at San Siro, and Ibra called him a killer. But one goal doesn't make a striker a success. What needs to change tactically to better serve Gimenez compared to how the team played with Morata?
Okay, so this is crucial. Gimenez is not Morata. He's a different type of striker, and Milan needs to adjust their tactics accordingly. Morata likes to drop deep, to link up with the midfield, to create chances for others. Gimenez, on the other hand, is all about being in the box, making runs, and finishing chances. So Milan needs to focus on getting the ball into the box more often, with crosses, with through balls, with quick combinations. Killer, but Milan needs to give him the bullets.
Okay, makes sense. More crosses, more balls into the box. But is that something Milan can realistically do given their current squad and their style of play?
It's a challenge, no doubt, but it's not impossible. They have the players to do it, with Leao, Pulisic, and Theo Hernandez all capable of delivering quality crosses. But it requires a shift in mentality, a willingness to take risks, and a better understanding between the players. Conceicao needs to drill this into them in training to make it second nature. In the article, Ordine is secure, si capisce al volo him.
Okay, Paul, I'm convinced. Milan needs to adapt to Gimenez, not the other way around. But let's zoom out for a second. Because according to MilanNews.it, since Conceicao arrived, Milan has earned 14 points, matching Inter's tally in the same period. Does that mean Conceicao is working miracles, or is it just a coincidence?
Look, let's not get carried away. It's a good sign, and it shows that Conceicao has had a positive impact on the team. But it's still a small sample size. There have been some positive signs in terms of results, in terms of defensive solidity, and in terms of integrating new players like Gimenez and Pulisic. But there's still a lot of work to be done, especially in terms of attacking creativity and consistency. It also depends on the other team's performance. But let's see how the team will perform in the future.
You're right. Consistency is key. And that brings us to the big one. The upcoming match against Feyenoord in the Champions League. How crucial is this game, and what needs to improve for Milan to get a positive result?
Alice, this game is absolutely massive. It's a must-win, plain and simple. If they lose, their Champions League journey is likely over. And to get a positive result, they need to improve in every area of the pitch. They need to be more solid defensively, more creative in attack, and more clinical in front of goal made against Verona, and not repeat them against Feyenoord. I mean, it's do or die time. What do you think?
Yeah, no pressure, right? But seriously, I think you're spot on. They need to bring their A-game because Feyenoord is no pushover. And given the performance against Verona, I'm a little worried, to be honest.
Worried? I'm terrified. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, there's definitely cause for concern. But I also believe in this team, in their talent, in their spirit, and I think that Conceicao is the right man to guide them through this difficult period. So let's hope they can rise to the occasion and deliver a performance that we can all be proud of. What do you think that should be the strategy here?
Look, as long as Leao and Theo are in top condition, there's nothing to worry about. This is going to be a great match, and I'll be cheering for AC Milan at the stadium.
The takeaway is that, although Conceicao improved the numbers, the team needs to perform better and be more consistent to compete against European top teams. The team needs to know and serve Gimenez so he can perform at his best.
All right, Milan fans, that's all the time we have for today. We've dissected the Verona win, debated the performance quality, and previewed the crucial Feyenoord clash. The big question now is, can Milan turn things around and secure that Champions League spot? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
And don't forget to subscribe to Milan Soccer Club for more in-depth analysis and passionate debates. And Alice, if Milan loses to Feyenoord, are you still going to wear your jersey to the stadium?
Paul, are you even questioning that? Red and black till I die! Forza Milan! See you all next time!